and welcome to this Zwift Run live stream. My name is Stephen. I'm a Zwift ambassador, a community run leader and your host today. There's a countdown clock up there showing how long to go before the start of the main event, so you've probably got time to tidy the kitchen, take the trash out and grab yourself a drink before we get going. If you've never seen Zwift before, it's an online game where athletes from all over the world train, compete against and socialise with each other live and in real time. All you need to take part is a foot pod, an internet connection, access to a treadmill and a device on which to run the Zwift app. You can use a computer, an iPad, an iPhone, a high-end Android device. Zwift even works on Apple TV. If you have a smart treadmill, you don't even need a foot pod, as your treadmill will send your speed direct to Zwift. Once you've logged in and made sure your equipment is connected, you can join others live for structured group workouts or social runs. You could do a solo workout or take part in one of the many in-game challenges. You could also pit yourself against people from all over the world in a race. There are various Zwift worlds. Some are based on existing places like London, New York, Innsbruck, Richmond, Virginia and Harrogate in the UK. But the biggest world is the fictional Watopia, where you can run in glass tunnels underwater, through the middle of a volcano, in a jungle, up to the top of a snow-capped mountain and on country trails. Watopia is where the Zwift developers let their imagination fly. Like any computer game, the more you run, the higher up the levels you climb and the more virtual goodies you require. If you're a regular treadmill runner, Zwift is going to transform your training. If you're a hater, Zwift is going to change the way you think about indoor running. Before we go any further, if you're watching on YouTube, please click that subscribe button and the bell icon so you're notified every time we go live on this channel. If you're watching on Facebook, please click the like button on the Film My Run page. Film My Run is also my other YouTube channel where I post real world runs, so if you're interested in marathons, ultra running, 10Ks or triathlons, you'll find product reviews, interviews and races over on that channel. I've been running all my life. I started running long distance races in 2011 when I ran my first half marathon, and that was followed a year later by my first marathon in Paris. I've run the Paris Marathon every year since and have now run well over 100 marathons and ultras. I started using Zwift at the beginning of 2015 when indoor cycling and smart trainers really took off. In the early days, I held the long distance record for cycling of 500 kilometres on Zwift for about 48 hours. And when running started in 2016, I was the first person to run a marathon on Zwift. So if you have any questions about Zwift, if I don't know the answer, I probably know somebody who does. Okay, so now you can go and take the trash out and get that drink. And make sure you keep an eye on that countdown and be back in time for the start proper. Well, go on then, don't just sit there gawping at me. Basically, this message is going to go around in a loop again and again until the start of the run, so you may as well go and do something constructive in the meantime. And welcome to this Zwift Run live stream. My name is Stephen. I'm a Zwift ambassador, a community run leader and your host today. There's a countdown clock up there showing how long to go before the start of the main event, so you've probably got time to tidy the kitchen, take the trash out and grab yourself a drink before we get going. If you've never seen Zwift before, it's an online game where athletes from all over the world train, compete against and socialise with each other live and in real time. All you need to take part is a foot pod, an internet connection, access to a treadmill and a device on which to run the Zwift app. You can use a computer, an iPad, an iPhone, a high-end Android device. Zwift even works on Apple TV. If you have a smart treadmill, you don't even need a foot pod, as your treadmill will send your speed direct to Zwift. Once you've logged in and made sure your equipment is connected, you can join others live for structured group workouts or social runs. You could do a solo workout or take part in one of the many in-game challenges. You could also pit yourself against people from all over the world in a race. There are various Zwift worlds. Some are based on existing places like London, New York, Innsbruck, Richmond, Virginia and Harrogate in the UK. But the biggest world is the fictional Watopia, where you can run in glass tunnels underwater, through the middle of a volcano, in a jungle, up to the top of a snow-capped mountain and on country trails. Watopia is where the Zwift developers let their imagination fly. Like any computer game, the more you run, the higher up the levels you climb and the more virtual goodies you require. If you're a regular treadmill runner, Zwift is going to transform your training. If you're a hater, Zwift is going to change the way you think about indoor running. Before we go any further, if you're watching on YouTube, please click that subscribe button and the bell icon so you're notified every time we go live on this channel. If you're watching on Facebook, please click the like button on the Film My Run page. Film My Run is also my other YouTube channel where I post real world runs, so if you're interested in marathons, ultra running, 10Ks or triathlons, you'll find product reviews, interviews and races over on that channel. I've been running all my life. I started running long distance races in 2011 when I ran my first half marathon, and that was followed a year later by my first marathon in Paris. I've run the Paris Marathon every year since and have now run well over 100 marathons and ultras. I started using Zwift at the beginning of 2015 when indoor cycling and smart trainers really took off. In the early days, I held the long distance record for cycling of 500 kilometres on Zwift for about 48 hours. And when running started in 2016, I was the first person to run a marathon on Zwift. So if you have any questions about Zwift, if I don't know the answer, I probably know somebody who does. Okay, so now you can go and take the trash out and get that drink. And make sure you keep an eye on that countdown and be back in time for the start proper. Well, go on then, don't just sit there gawping at me. Basically, this message is going to go around in a loop again and again until the start of the run, so you may as well go and do something constructive in the meantime. And welcome to this Zwift Run live stream. My name is Stephen. I'm a Zwift ambassador, a community run leader and your host today. There's a countdown clock up there showing how long to go before the start of the main event, so you've probably got time to tidy the kitchen, take the trash out and grab yourself a drink before we get going. If you've never seen Zwift before, it's an online game where athletes from all over the world train, compete against and socialise with each other live and in real time. All you need to take part is a foot pod, an internet connection, access to a treadmill and a device on which to run the Zwift app. You can use a computer, an iPad, an iPhone, a high-end Android device. Zwift even works on Apple TV. If you have a smart treadmill, you don't even need a foot pod, as your treadmill will send your speed direct to Zwift. Once you've logged in and made sure your equipment is connected, you can join others live for structured group workouts or social runs. You could do a solo workout or take part in one of the many in-game challenges. You could also pit yourself against people from all over the world in a race. There are various Zwift worlds. Some are based on existing places like London, New York, Innsbruck, Richmond, Virginia and Harrogate in the UK. But the biggest world is the fictional Watopia, where you can run in glass tunnels underwater, through the middle of a volcano, in a jungle, up to the top of a snow-capped mountain and on country trails. Watopia is where the Zwift developers let their imagination fly. Like any computer game, the more you run, the higher up the levels you climb and the more virtual goodies you require. If you're a regular treadmill runner, Zwift is going to transform your training. If you're a hater, Zwift is going to change the way you think about indoor running. Before we go any further, if you're watching on YouTube, please click that subscribe button and the bell icon so you're notified every time we go live on this channel. If you're watching on Facebook, please click the like button on the Film My Run page. Film My Run is also my other YouTube channel where I post real world runs, so if you're interested in marathons, ultra running, 10Ks or triathlons, you'll find product reviews, interviews and races over on that channel. I've been running all my life. I started running long distance races in 2011 when I ran my first half marathon, and that was followed a year later by my first marathon in Paris. I've run the Paris Marathon every year since and have now run well over 100 marathons and ultras. I started using Zwift at the beginning of 2015 when indoor cycling and smart trainers really took off. In the early days, I held the long distance record for cycling of 500 kilometres on Zwift for about 48 hours. And when running started in 2016, I was the first person to run a marathon on Zwift. So if you have any questions about Zwift, if I don't know the answer, I probably know somebody who does. Okay, so now you can go and take the trash out and get that drink. And make sure you keep an eye on that countdown and be back in time for the start proper. Well, go on then, don't just sit there gawping at me. Basically, this message is going to go around in a loop again and again until the start of the run, so you may as well go and do something constructive in the meantime. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Film My Run on Zwift. My name is Stephen Cousins and we are broadcasting live around the world on Facebook, on twitch.tv, on Mixer and on YouTube. While we're getting everything set up, it would be absolutely awesome if you could go and subscribe to the Film My Run YouTube channel and also the Zwift Runs and Rides YouTube channel. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/FilmMyRun, on Twitter at FilmMyRun, and you can also go to the website, which is www.filmmyrun.com. It's very nearly time, so sit back, relax, and watch me do all the hard work. Hi guys, good morning to everyone. Good morning Vidar. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It is Film My Run on the Facebook page. It is Zwift Live on YouTube. And we are doing a very simple, straightforward, basic session today. All I'm doing is climbing 500 meters. So just walking through. I'll raise the elevation in a second. We'll just get to 200 meters of strolling. And then we start. So we'll go to 4.2 kilometers we'll do. And that'll get us to 500 meters elevation just about. I think. Something like that. Right. Anyway, up we go. Let's walk a bit more. So 12% now. Good morning, Goran. Hello to you. We're on the London course, so we're just crossing Tower Bridge now. This is the opposite way that you would do it if you were in the London Marathon. So London Marathon, you would come from the other way. So we're now at 12% elevation, 12% incline on the treadmill, and just walk it through for a couple more 100 metres. This course now, we're going to go out to the Surrey Hills, so we are going to go across the bridge here. We're going to turn left, I think. We'll go to a tube station. We'll go inside the tube station, and then we'll get out the other side of the tube station, and magically we will be in the Surrey Hills, which in reality is a good 20 miles down the road, actually. But as you can see, look, if you can see on the screen, you can actually see the Surrey Hills from Tower Bridge on Zwift, but you can't in real life. They are a good 20 miles away, so it's a bit of an in-game cheat where you were able to go through a tube tunnel, an underground tunnel, and get to the Surrey Hills. And that's all we're doing today. Sometimes we do a route achievement badge in the mornings or some other challenge, but not today. Simple, straightforward, as quick as I can today. Just need to get 500 metres of climb. Did I say 400 metres of climb? 500 metres of climb out the way in 4 kilometres of running. Just over. So we'll get to 500 metres distance, and I'll start jogging it out. We'll start running at 5.5 kilometres an hour. We'll add 0.5 of a kilometre per hour every kilometre. So 5.5, 6, 6.5, and the last kilometre will be at 7 kilometres per hour. And that's the only kilometre that my avatar will be running. He doesn't start running until 6.8 kilometres per hour. If you are watching on YouTube, do please subscribe to the Zwift Live channel. Helps me keep the channel going and earn a little bit of money from some advertising revenue. Right, so there's the 50, there's the 0.5 marker. Andrew Cutmore, thank you.
Right on!
So we'll pass that marker. I'll bump the speed up and we'll get going. Climbing this hill. We don't actually get to a proper hill until we get to the other side of the tube station. So on Zwift, this is flat at the moment. But we are not following the elevation profile of Zwift as such. So 12% on the treadmill. 12% gives me 120 metres of climb per kilometre. So off we go. Let's get into this tube tunnel and get out the other side. And when we get out the other side, we'll eventually start climbing a hill in Zwift as well. Got any questions for me whilst I'm going relatively comfortably before it starts to hurt, drop them into the chat. Now I'm watching YouTube chat and Facebook chat, so you can ask me any questions you like before it gets difficult. Vidar, no snow on the ground here. It's a beautiful sunny day. It's cold, pretty cold, but no snow. It's blue skies outside. Right, so we're in the bowels of the London tube system now. Gemma Fletcher, thank you. I've had this music for years. I keep meaning to change it, or at least have some different options. It's the same music that I've used for a long time, so I'm glad you like it. Right, so this is where the tracks would be. So they very kindly put down some wooden boards for us to run on or walk on, as I'm doing at the moment. So we'll get through this tunnel, and once we get out the other side, if my calculations are correct, we should start almost immediately climbing up Fox Hill. Although looking at the map, I'm not sure what direction I'm going there. It might be too small for you to see. Oh, it's being blocked by my camera. So the map is in the top right hand corner, which is currently where my camera is, so you can't see the map. And Gemma, I definitely won't ditch the music completely. What I might do is have a rotation of different playlists, so it's not the same one every time. So I'll just have like 2 or 3 different sets of music that I can use, so it's not exactly the same each time. Andrew Cutmore says, I'm increasing my long runs by 2 miles a week. Is that a sensible increase? Absolutely. That's exactly what I would suggest. So there are some different ways that you can do this, Andrew. You can just basically increase your long runs every week by a couple of miles or whatever you want, and just keep going up. What some people do is they might increase their mileage 1 week. So 1 week they might do, say, 12 miles, and the next week they'll drop back down to 10 miles. Then the week after that, they'll do 14 miles. And then the week after that, they'll drop down to 12. And the week after that, they'll do 16. And the week after that, drop down to 14. So it's just kind of a different way of doing it, really. Well, you could say, do 12 1 week, 10 the next, and then jump right up to 14 the week after, and then back down to 10, and then 18 the week after that, and then back down to 10. I've tended just to keep adding the miles really each week. Although actually, having said that, that was in the olden days. These days, I'm usually fairly well able to run a marathon at a moment. So if you said to me, I've got to run a marathon tomorrow, I could probably run one. Well, I could run one. It wouldn't be an unbelievably fast time, but I would certainly be able to run one without feeling like I was dying. Right, we've passed, or actually, in terms of elevation, we've been on elevation since 200 metres, so we're just hitting 1 kilometre now of elevation work. Because the first 200 metres was virtually flat. Right, so out of the tunnel. So we're going to turn right in a minute and go through the station. And we're now in the Surrey Hills. This is around Dorking area of the UK in Surrey, just on the borders of West Sussex. And this was used as a cycling route in the 2012 Olympics. And there's a famous hill here called Box Hill, which is used by cyclists all the time for hill training. So when we get out of the station, oh actually I should have gone up then, shouldn't I now? So I'm now on 6 kilometres per hour, slightly speeding up for the second kilometre. Very short run today really, only half an hour, 35 minutes left of running. We're just going to get out and do 4 kilometres. It's going to end up being 4.2 kilometres, and that'll give me 500 metres of elevation. Oh, and Casey, thank you very much for your ride on.
Right on!
So here we go through the station. Vidar, do you mean in terms of features or events? To answer both those questions, in terms of events, we have the new ZRS Zwift race series coming soon, the Valentine's Day race series. Oh, I haven't got my phone with me, but if you look it up on the companion app, you'll see the next ZRS series coming up soon. We also have the Watopia Run Festival, which is coming up at the end of February. And last night, when we were running with Sean, who is one of the Zwift HQ run team, he was telling us that they have a lot of new partnerships lined up with different companies to offer running series in partnership with them. So look out for kind of more sponsored runs coming up, maybe with sponsored athletes as well. So that's what's happening in terms of events. And of course we always keep the standard Monday Run Club, Wednesday workout, Run in the Park, all those events keep going. Dusk Patrol with Jordan Maddox, and the Run Walk events, and Ryan Downey's Pack Social Club. So lots of individual events that run regularly keep going. In terms of features, the main feature that's right around the corner, well, it's already here actually. I'm already programming some workouts in time-based. So up to now, all workouts have been distance-based. So 800 meters, 400 meter reps, whatever it might be. Now we can do workouts in seconds or minutes. So I'm currently programming a workout which is 1 minute on and 1 minute off. So 1 minute of hard work, 1 minute of rest. So that's the main kind of thing that's coming up, is time-based workouts. A little bit further ahead, we've got a brand new user interface coming, which will be a lot more customizable. So the screen, basically the screen that you're looking at now,
jack it up.
I think you will be able to change it and have much more options as to what you see on screen. And we're also going to have an end to, you know when you end your run, and then you have to basically close the program down, don't you, to do anything else? You have to re-log in. Say, for instance, I wanted to stop this run now and go and run in New York or on Watopia. I'd have to close the program down and start it again. Well, in the next couple of months or so, hopefully, we'll have an update which will mean we don't have to do that anymore, and we can change a lot more things in-game without having to log out and log back in again. Okay, here we go on Fox Hill. So this is the other side of Box Hill. Gemma Fletcher says, I'm surprised that gyms haven't caught on to this and set up some treadmills with gameplay screens. Well, that's primarily because Zwift haven't been targeting that. A lot of the gyms already have their own kind of proprietary systems, and there was a company called iFit that were doing a lot of those kind of in-gym consoles where you could kind of run in a virtual world or round a virtual track or whatever. But it hasn't actually taken off that well. But I think Zwift have decided they want to try and focus more on the home market and getting people to get treadmills at home and run from home. That I don't know why. Maybe they just think there's a bigger market there, a kind of more of a long-term, consistent market where if they build it slowly over a number of years. Oh, bear with me 1 second. Going over the fence. Right, hold on 1 second. I've got to get off and I'll get back on in 2 seconds. Hang on. Right, hello there again. Sorry about that. I had a visitor who's arrived. I needed to open the front door. She was standing, hovering over the fence, saying, "Can you let me in, please?" Okay, we need to go back up to 12%. When you stop this treadmill, it goes back down to 0%. That's no problem, Vidar. Any other questions anybody wants to ask, please fire away. Right. So a little break, but we're back on it. Right, so we're back at 12% incline. That's 2 kilometers, although actually need another 20 meters, 200 meters, before it's officially 2 kilometers with the elevation. So we are starting to climb now in the beautiful Surrey countryside. I should have put some camera angles on, shouldn't I? Do that. So hopefully the camera will start panning up and down, left and right now. Give you a bit more of an interesting view. So there we are. Read what Chris Nolan has put. iFit's content is all filmed video runs, some based off Google Maps and the Street View information. iFit is still part of the Proform and Nordic treadmill and bikes. Yeah. So that's iFit. So, but not a lot of people use it really. You don't see adverts for it like you see for Zwift. If you try it out, you are running on a fairly empty course, and this is much more social. Zwift is about interacting with other real people in real time, especially when you're doing group runs. Andrew Cutmore is asking, for the long slow run, the LSR, what pace should this be run at? Okay, so again, this can be approached from lots of different angles. So one school of thought is that you run the long slow run approximately 1 minute per kilometre slower, or 1 minute per mile, doesn't have to be exact, but about 1 minute per mile slower than your marathon pace. So by this point you should have a plan of what time you want to run your marathon or your ultra in. So take that pace, let's say it's 5 minutes per kilometre. So you would run your long slow run at 6 minutes per kilometre. The other thoughts are that you can use the long run to practice marathon pace. So say you're doing 20 miles, what you might do is run the first 5 miles dead slow, then do 10 miles at goal marathon pace, and then do the last 5 miles dead slow as a cool down. Or you could run 10 miles slow and the last 10 miles at marathon pace. And then you'd have to have a bit of a cool down after that, but that's one way to teach your body how to keep running fast at the end of a race when you're tired. So you can use the long slow run or the long Sunday run. If you're doing marathon pace, you call it the long Sunday run or the long Saturday run. And so you do a little bit of your run at marathon pace. And the other way is just do the whole run nice and slow, which is why it's called the long slow run. The other option, which you should really only do once, and I have done this before, is do the whole, say do 20 mile, enter a 20 mile race. For example, a lot of people do that prior to their marathon. They will enter a 20 mile race and bang it out at marathon pace. But certainly only do that once, really. But it's quite good fun, I quite enjoy doing that. So maybe a mix of all of those things, really. You know, do some of your long runs really slowly. Some of your long runs do part slow, part marathon pace. And maybe one of your long runs do the whole thing at marathon pace. And everyone will tell you something different. Some people will tell you the longest you should run when training for a marathon is 20 miles. Well, that's a load of rubbish, really. Do as long as you want. You know, as long as you leave yourself enough time to recover, which should be about 3 to 4 weeks. You know, you could run a marathon in your training if you want to. Leave a month, 3 weeks to a month to recover. Certainly if you're not used to marathon running. Leave a few weeks to recover and you'll be fine. So we're well into it now. We've got about 1.5 kilometres left to run, and hopefully I'll have made it to 500 metres of climb. So you can see top... Oh no, you can't see top right. If you could see top right, you could see that the elevation of the hill that I'm going up currently... Oh, I should be at 6.5. Oh, I keep forgetting this.
Right on.
Thanks, Peter Denny, for your ride on. The hill that we're going up currently says 6% elevation gain. We're at 12% elevation gain. Sullivan, thanks for the ride on.
Right on.
And Kerry Thomas, thanks for the ride on as well.
Right on.
Too busy chatting and not concentrating on the speed I'm supposed to be going. Anyway, another 500 metres distance, and then I will bump it up again to 7, and we'll finally get the avatar running. So it's going to be about another 20 minutes or so of running. No, actually, it's not going to be anything like that. We're doing 4 kilometres, not 5. I've got 5 on my timer for some reason. So hopefully it's going to be about 14 minutes. Right, there's the marker for 3 kilometres. So I won't be on tonight. I think I'll probably go out with the club tonight. But we'll see. Maybe the wife might want to go out instead. If my wife goes out, I'll probably do something on Zwift tonight. So we'll see. So there's 3 kilometres. I'll just do another 200 metres and then I'll bump up the pace. Peter Denny says he just did 5 kilometres at 8 kilometres an hour and 6% elevation gain. He says that was hard enough. He'll try 12% one day. You just have to run slower, Peter. See, I'm not going to go at 8 kilometres per hour. You could probably manage 6 kilometres per hour at 12, I'd have thought, Peter. And I'm only doing 4 kilometres as well, so So we're still climbing through the Surrey Hills. This is Fox Hill, not Box Hill, so it's the other side. Right, so let's just bump it up now then. So the avatar is going to start running now. We'll do another kilometre at this elevation, this pace. So when it gets to this pace, it's definitely a step up. I can definitely feel that it kind of hurts a bit more. It's definitely more of an effort now at 7 kilometres an hour. But I'm glad that we've just got 1 kilometre to go. Vidal says intervals. It's usual to do 4 times 4, 4 minutes fast, 2 to 3 minutes slow, 4 times in total. Sounds good to me. Although 4 minutes fast seems quite a long interval, but I suppose it's less than a mile, isn't it? So maybe a kilometre. So basically, that's 4 minutes is. You probably get a kilometre in, maybe just less than a kilometre. Depends how fast you're going, of course. Oh, absolutely, Peter. There we are. 12% on the treadmill. Yeah, Peter says, it's amazing how 0% feels like a good downhill after a long stretch of incline. Absolutely. Vidar, there's no better or worse. You know, there's lots of different training sessions you can do that involve intervals. I talked earlier about 1 minute on, 1 minute off. You know, there are lots of different kinds of intervals you can do. I mean, just have a search on YouTube, on Google for time-based workouts. I'm doing a pyramid one as well. So you run for 1 minute, then you rest. You run for 2 minutes, then you rest. You run for 3 minutes, then you rest. 4 minutes, then you rest. 5 minutes, hard running, then you rest. Then 4 minutes, then 3 minutes, 2 minutes, and then finally 1 minute, and then rest. So hopefully we will reach the top of Fox Hill toward just at the end of the run. Ledlington, Zwift HQ, hello buddy.
Right on.
Was it Ledlington or Leddington? Oh, look at that beautiful moon. Wow. And then the orange line up there, that's my 4 kilometre marker. So when we get there, we'll just do a little bit more and then we'll be done. Still at 12% elevation, just getting to the top of Fox Hill now. Then I'll go and have my shower and do some video editing. And a runner coming up beside me. Is it Darren Smith? Hi Darren. Let's give him a ride on. Oh, he's whizzing past me. Oh, I've turned myself round. What's going on there? I didn't want to turn around. Oh well, it doesn't matter now. That's a shame, I didn't want to turn around. Turned around by accident. But here comes the 4 kilometre marker, 100 metres away. Just feels weird running downhill now. Chris Nolan says he's looking forward to having power on screen for Zwift runners. Do you know what? It's not far away, but there are some things they need to iron out first. Like incline, for example. The Stride foot pod has no idea whether you're running flat or whether you're running on an incline. So obviously your power is different in those scenarios. So you would get an incorrect reading on screen. So they need to sort that out. Right, there's 4 kilometres. Let's do another 200 metres.
Nice.
Definitely feeling it now. Yes, Peter, I agree with you. Power and elevation as we get in cycling for running. And you want calories for cycling as well. I mean, I get elevation on Strava at the end, obviously. Matthias, thanks for the ride on.
Right on.
But yeah, it'd be nice to have the option of having it displayed on screen. So in the bottom bottom left, where it says today's run, calories burned, average pace, best kilometre, there we could have elevation, couldn't we? Meters climbed. Right, I feel like just going a little bit further. Let's do another 300 metres distance. And let's speed it up for the final Final 250 metres. Camera 2. So let's get to that 4.5 kilometre marker and then we'll call it a day. Still at 12%. Should be a good 500 metres of climb when we finished. Hello, Adam. Yeah, well, I'm doing every morning, well, most mornings I tend to do a little bit of a hilly session. Certainly in the early part of the week anyway. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And Tomet, thank you for your ride on.
Right on!
All done. 4.5 kilometres, 4.3 climbing, and we are done for the morning. We'll see what we do tomorrow. Might be on tonight. Adam Holland says he wishes he was doing this session rather than being at work all day. I hear you, buddy. But I'm going to work now. It's just that my work is sitting on my sofa with my laptop on my lap. Oh. Right, we're flat. We may as well go to 5 kilometres, haven't we? So, 2.5 minutes. Just to finish it off, nice round number, 5 kilometres done, 500 metres elevation, and that's the morning's work complete. Bringing the heart rate down. So, stayed most of the run in zone 3, which is what we wanted. Little bit in zone 4, only touching it. Adam says he'll be on Zwift later. Adam's next marathon is the Cyprus Marathon. Wow, that'll be nice. It'll be hot though. And Chris Nolan, yeah, got to chase the XP points. They're all racking up in the background there. So if you don't know, you can see just at the top there it says number 21 with a little running figure. So that is my level in the game. Zwift is a game, a computer game like any other. So you can go up the levels, get points and virtual prizes. But I'm on the top level at the moment, which is level 21. And so at the moment, we're waiting for them to release some new levels. But that's not going to happen just yet. So in the meantime, all the XP points that I earn are being racked up in the background. And hopefully when we get some new levels, I will jump up a bunch. Apparently, somebody told me the other day I've just hit over 3,000 kilometres on Zwift, so that's a pretty good milestone, although by no means the most. There's people have run 7,000 kilometres on Zwift, so way more than me. You look at Marcus Holmes, he's run an absolute ton on Zwift. I think he does all his running on Zwift, and he's at around 7,500 kilometres of running. And I've been running on Zwift for years. 3 years I've been running on Zwift. And almost every day. And I'm only on 3,000, so You've got to run a lot on Zwift to get that many miles up, or that many kilometres. Right, coming to the end, 5 kilometres done. There's the purple marker. And we are out of here, going for a shower. Enjoy the rest of your day, folks. Thanks very much for putting up with me this morning, sticking with me, asking some questions, being entertaining. That's it. Slow it down. Oh, and we've also got 5 XP points for burning 200 calories. I'll bet we burned a lot more than 200 calories in 5k. So 5k is about 3 miles. You normally estimate that for every mile you burn 100 calories. And that was not including incline. So I was on incline, so I was certainly burning more calories than if I'd been running flat at that pace. So I reckon I burned between 300 and 400 calories there, but Zwift reckons 200, so I'm not too worried about that. 5 kilometres done, some more XP points added, and I'm going to go and have a shower. I might see you tonight. I'll have a discussion with Mrs. Cousins. Mrs. Film My Run, as she's known by some. Vidar, you're welcome. Thanks for joining me, buddy. And I might be on tonight, or I might go out in the real world and actually do some running outside in the real world. Who'd have thought it, eh? Take care, guys. See you later, whenever it is. Bye-bye.